The doctrine of Sola Scriptura, which asserts that Scripture is the only infallible rule of faith for Christians, was popularized by Martin Luther in the early 16th century. Luther's pivotal act of posting his 95 Theses in 1517 challenged the Catholic Church's practices, particularly the sale of indulgences, which were granted on papal authority. This challenge led Luther to reject the authority of the Pope and claim that the Bible should be the ultimate guiding authority for Christians. In 1577, the Formula of Concord, a Lutheran confessional statement, reaffirmed this principle, emphasizing that the prophetic and apostolic scriptures are the true standard by which all teachings should be judged. Alongside sola fide, faith alone, Sola Scriptura became a foundational tenet of the Protestant Reformation. While Luther's criticisms of church abuses were valid, he was not the first reformer. Figures like St. Francis of Assisi and St. Catherine of Siena sought to improve the church from within. As tensions escalated between Luther and the church hierarchy, the central issue became the legitimacy of church authority. Luther accused the magisterium of corrupting Christian doctrine and rejected sacred tradition as a source of divine revelation, arguing that only the Bible could serve as the standard for faith. The question arises, was Luther's doctrine a restoration of biblical truth or merely a misguided interpretation of Christian authority? Despite his passion and success in spreading his beliefs, the validity of those beliefs is not guaranteed. Jesus warned of false prophets misleading many, and the Apostle Paul noted that early Christians could stray from the true gospel by discarding apostolic authority and tradition. Today, as in the past, the certainty of doctrine is crucial for safeguarding against false teachings. The examination of Luther's doctrine of Sola Scriptura will consider practical, logical, and historical perspectives, aiming to demonstrate that it is not a genuine truth from God, but a false doctrine of men. St. Francis de Sales articulated that heresy arises from misunderstanding Scripture, not from Scripture itself. This notion suggests that misinterpretations can lead to erroneous beliefs. The doctrine of Sola Scriptura, according to critics, undermines the authority structure established by Christ, instead placing individual interpretation above Scripture. This individualism can lead to a subjective understanding of faith, where the believer judges the meaning of Scripture rather than allowing Scripture to guide their understanding. In essence, while Luther sought to reform the Church, his doctrine of Sola Scriptura, by elevating personal interpretation, ultimately shifts authority away from the Church and tradition, creating a potential for misunderstanding and misapplication of biblical teachings. This perspective posits that the doctrine is not a divine truth, but rather a human construct that can lead to confusion and division within Christianity.